All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. I have about 30 minutes until I start work today. I got an English class I got to get to for about 2 hours, but today is Friday. I've done a few videos today. Go check them out. I did a video on the Darfur massacre that's happening right now in Sudan, where the Arab militias are slaughtering the black people who are the Masalit tribe and making them flee into Chad. I released a video today about the brick lady and her getting arrested. Go check out that video that I just released. I just released a video right now about Kentucky creating a law where they're trying to criminalize homelessness and allow people to kill the homeless people. But we have a big story developing right now, right now, where the ICJ, my phone, I'm going to play the audio right now of them making the ruling about South Africa taking Israel to court. I did not watch the video. I don't know what the ruling is. This is happening live right now. I have about 20 or 30 minutes of lag time here because I paused it while I was recording a video for Kentucky. I'm going to play the video, and I listen to everything on 2X, so I don't want y'all to say, why the hell are you listening to it so fast? I'm going to play the video right now. I'm going to hear what the people are saying. This will be my live reaction to what they are going to say about South Africa versus Israel and the genocide claim. Let's get into it.
Of obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, to which I shall refer as the Genocide Convention or the Convention. The application of South Africa contained a request for the indication of provisional measures submitted with reference to Article 41 of the statute and to Articles 73, 74, and 75 of the Rules of Court. In accordance with the usual practice, I shall not read the introductory paragraphs of the order which set out the procedural history of the case. I shall also omit or summarize some other paragraphs. I shall therefore begin the reading of the order at paragraph 13. In the order, the court
watching it right here on my phone.
In which the present case came before.
Watching it on my phone right now. I don't know what they're going to say. Let's see.
Present in the Gaza Strip carried out an attack in Israel, killing more than 1,200 persons, injuring thousands, and abducting some 240 people, many of whom continue to be held hostage. Following this attack, Israel launched a large-scale military operation in Gaza by land.
Y'all let me know what y'all think the ruling is. No spoilers. No spoilers in the chat. No spoilers in the chat.
Of the extent of the human tragedy that is unfolding in the region and is deeply concerned about the continuing loss of life and human suffering.
I'm going to block the chat right here.
In Gaza has been addressed in the framework of several organs and specialized agencies of the United Nations.
I'm going to block the chat so I can't see until I hear the ruling.
And the Security Council of the United Nations, referring to many aspects of the conflict. The scope of the present case submitted to the court, however, is limited, as South Africa has instituted these proceedings under the Genocide Convention.
It's on 2X playing on my phone.
Conditions needed to be fulfilled in order for it to indicate provisional measures. With respect to the question of prima facie jurisdiction, the court observes that it may indicate provisional measures only if the provisions relied on by the applicant appear prima facie to afford a basis on which its jurisdiction could be founded, but it need not satisfy itself in a definitive manner that it has jurisdiction as regards the merits of the case. In the present case, South Africa seeks to found the jurisdiction of the court on Article 36, paragraph 1 of the statute of the court, and on Article 9 of the Genocide Convention. The court must therefore first determine whether those provisions prima facie confer upon it jurisdiction to rule on the merits of the case, enabling it, if the other necessary conditions are fulfilled, to indicate provisional measures. Article 9 of the Genocide Convention provides, I'll quote, disputes between the contracting parties relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the present convention, including those relating to the responsibility of a state for genocide or for any of the other acts enumerated in Article 3, shall be submitted to the International Court of Justice at the request of any of the parties to the dispute, end of quote. South Africa and Israel are both parties to the Genocide Convention, and neither of them has entered a reservation to Article 9 or any other provision of the convention. The court then recalls that Article 9 of the Genocide Convention makes its jurisdiction conditional on the existence of a dispute relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the convention. A dispute is a disagreement on a point or fact, a conflict of legal views or interest between parties. In order for a dispute to exist, it must be shown that the claim of one party is positively opposed by the other. The two sides must hold clearly opposite views concerning the question of the performance or non-performance of international obligations. To determine whether a dispute exists in the present case, the court cannot limit itself to noting that one of the parties maintains the convention applies while the other denies it. Since South Africa has invoked as a basis for the court's jurisdiction the compromissory clause of the Genocide Convention, the court must also ascertain at the present stage of proceedings whether it appears that the acts and omissions complained of by the applicant are capable of falling within the scope of that convention, ratio materiae. The court recalls that for purposes of deciding whether a dispute existed between the parties at the time of the filing of the application, it takes into account in particular any statements or documents exchanged between the parties, as well as any exchanges made in multilateral settings. In so doing, it pays special attention to the author of the statement or document, its intended or actual addressee, and its content. The existence of a dispute is a matter for objective determination.
We're listening on 2X on my phone. Listening to the BBC on 2X. I don't know what the ruling is. I blocked the chat. I cannot see if y'all are writing anything, if y'all are telling me.
For instance, at the resumed 10th Emergency Special Session of the United Nations General Assembly on 12 December 2023, at which Israel was represented, the South African representative to the United Nations stated that, I quote, the events of the past 6 weeks in Gaza have illustrated that Israel is acting contrary to its obligations in terms of the Genocide Convention, end quote. South Africa recalled this statement from its note verbal of 21 December 2023 to the Embassy of Israel in Pretoria. The court notes that Israel dismissed any accusation of genocide in the context of the conflict in Gaza in a document published by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs on 6 December 2023, which was subsequently updated and reproduced on the website of the Israel Defense Forces on 15 December 2023 under the title, The War Against Hamas, Answering Your Most Pressing Questions, stating that, I quote, The accusation of genocide against Israel was not only wholly unfounded as a matter of fact and law, it is morally repugnant, end quote. In the document, Israel also stated that, I quote, the accusation of genocide is not just legally and factually incoherent, it is obscene, and that there was no valid basis in fact or law for the outrageous charge of genocide, end quote. In light of the foregoing, the court considers that the parties appear to hold clearly opposite views as to whether certain acts or omissions allegedly committed by Israel in Gaza amount to violations by the latter of its obligations under the Genocide Convention. The court finds that the aforementioned elements are sufficient at this stage to establish prima facie the existence of a dispute between the parties relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the Genocide Convention. As to whether the acts and omissions complained of by the applicant appear to be capable of falling within the provisions of the Genocide Convention, the court recalls that South Africa considers Israel to be responsible for committing genocide in Gaza and for failing to prevent and punish genocidal acts. South Africa contends that Israel has also violated her obligations under the Genocide Convention, including those concerning conspiracy to commit genocide, direct and public incitement to genocide, attempted genocide, and complicity in genocide. At the present stage of the proceedings, the court is not required to ascertain whether any violations of Israel's obligations under the Genocide Convention have occurred. Such a finding could only be made by the court at the stage of the examination of the merits of the present case. At the stage of making an order on the request for an indication of provisional measures, the court's task.
I wish they would just say it. I wish they would just say it.
The applicant appear to be capable of falling within the provisions of the Genocide Convention. In the court's view, at least some of the acts and omissions alleged by South Africa have been committed by Israel in Gaza appear to be capable of falling within the provisions of the convention. In light of the following, the court concludes that, prima facie, it has jurisdiction pursuant to Article 9 of the convention to entertain the case. Given this conclusion, the court considers that it cannot accede to Israel's request that the case be removed from the general list. The court turns next to the question of standing of South Africa. The court notes that the respondent did not challenge the standing of the applicant in the present proceedings.
Just get to it.
Concerning application of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, the Gambia v. Myanmar, where Article 9 of the Genocide Convention was also invoked, the court observed that all states parties to the convention have a common interest to ensure the prevention, suppression, and punishment of genocide by committing themselves to fulfilling the obligations contained in the convention. Such common interest implies that the obligations in question are owed by any state party to all the other state parties to the relevant convention. They are obligations erga omnes partes, in the sense that each state party has an interest in compliance with them in any given case. The common interest in compliance with the relevant obligations under the Genocide Convention entails that any state party, without distinction, is entitled to invoke the responsibility of another state party for an alleged breach of its obligations erga omnes partes. Accordingly, the court found that any state party to the Genocide
Stop the
Convention
suspense. Just say it. Just say it. We want to know.
With a view to determining the alleged failure to comply with its obligations erga omnes partes under the convention.
This is why I couldn't be a lawyer.
The court concludes prima facie that South Africa has standing to submit to it the dispute with Israel concerning alleged violations of obligations under the Genocide Convention. The court then turns to the question of the rights whose protection is sought and the link between such rights and the measures requested. It recalls that its power to indicate provisional measures under Article 41 of the statute has as its object the preservation of the respective rights claimed by the parties in a case, pending its decision on the merits thereof. It follows that the court must be concerned to preserve by such measures the rights which may subsequently be adjudged by it to belong to either party. Therefore, the court may exercise this power only if it is satisfied that the rights asserted by the party requesting such measures are at least plausible. At this stage of the proceedings, however, the court is not called upon to determine definitively whether the rights which South Africa wishes to seek protected exist. It may only decide whether the rights claimed by South Africa and for which it seeks protection are plausible. Moreover, a link must exist between the rights whose protection is sought and the provisional measures being requested. The court recalls that in accordance with Article 1 of the Convention, all states parties thereto have undertaken to prevent and to punish the crime of genocide. Article 2 provides that, I quote, genocide means any of the following acts committed with an intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such. A. Killing members of the group. B. Causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. C. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. D. Imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. E. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group.
My prediction is that they're going to rule in Israel's favor. That's my prediction.
Conspiracy to commit genocide, direct and public incitement to commit genocide, attempt to commit genocide.
My prediction is the ICJ will say Israel did not commit genocide. That's my prediction. That's not my belief, as in, I know they're committing a mass extinction event. But I wish they would just say it.
As the court has stated in other cases, in order for acts to fall within the scope of Article 2 of the Convention, the intent must be to destroy at least a substantial part of a particular group.
We're listening on 2X. That's how you should watch my videos too.
Is to prevent the intentional destruction of groups. The part targeted must be significant enough to have an impact on the group as a whole. The Palestinians appear to constitute a distinct national, ethnical, racial, or religious group, and hence a protected group within the meaning of Article 2 of the Genocide Convention. The court observes that, according to the United Nations sources, the Palestinian population in the Gaza Strip comprises over 2 million people. Palestinians in the Gaza Strip form a substantial part of the protected group. The court notes that the military operation being conducted by Israel following the attack of 7 October 2023 has resulted in a large number of deaths and injuries, as well as massive destruction of homes, the forcible displacement of the vast majority of the population, and extensive damage to civilian infrastructure. While figures relating to the Gaza Strip cannot be independently verified, recent information indicates that 25,700 Palestinians have been killed, over 63,000 injuries have been reported, over 360 housing units have been destroyed or partially damaged, and approximately 1.7 million persons have been internally displaced. The court takes note in this regard.
Maybe I'm wrong.
The United Nations Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator, Mr. Martin Griffiths, on 5 January 2024. I quote, Gaza has become a place of death and despair. Families are sleeping in the open as temperatures plummet. Areas where civilians were told to relocate for their safety have come under bombardment. Medical facilities are under relentless attack. A public health disaster is unfolding. Gaza has simply become uninhabitable. Its people are witnessing daily threats to their very existence while the world watches on. End quote. Following a mission to North Gaza, the World Health Organization reported that as of 21 December 2023, I quote, an unprecedented 93% of the population of Gaza is facing crisis levels with insufficient food and high levels of malnutrition. End quote. The court further notes the statement issued by the Commissioner General of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East, or UNRWA, Mr. Philippe Lazzarini, on 13 January 2024. I quote, it's been 100 days since the devastating war started, killing and displacing people in Gaza following the horrific attacks that Hamas and other groups carried out against people in Israel. It's been 100 days of ordeal and anxiety for hostages and their families. In the past 100 days, sustained bombardment across the Gaza Strip caused the massive displacement of a population that is in a state of flux, constantly uprooted and forced to leave overnight, only to move to places which are just as unsafe. This war affected more than 2 million people, the entire population of Gaza. Many will carry lifelong scars, both physical and psychological. The vast majority, including children, are deeply traumatized. Overcrowded and unsanitary UNRWA shelters have become home to more than 1.4 million people. They lack everything, from food to hygiene to privacy. People live in inhumane conditions where diseases are spreading, including on children. They live through the unlivable and with the clock ticking fast towards famine. The plight of children in Gaza is especially heartbreaking. An entire generation of children is traumatized and will take years to heal.
The way she's laying out what's happening in Gaza makes me think the ICJ might rule in Gaza's favor or South Africa's favor.
The UNRWA Commissioner General also stated,
because she's talking about all the children who's been displaced, all the people killed.
in this regard, the court has taken note of a number
Maybe
of
I'm wrong. Maybe they won't rule in
also
Israel's
taken
favor.
the following examples. On 9 October 2023, Mr. Yoav Gallant, Defense Minister of Israel,
I just think the Israelis got a lot of pull. The Zionists have a lot of pull. That's all. That's the only reason I think Israel might win this case. But she's talking heavy. She's talking real heavy.
We saw what we are fighting against. We are fighting human animals. This is the ISIS of Gaza. This is what we are fighting against. Gaza will return to as before. There will be no Hamas. We will eliminate everything. If it doesn't take one day, it will take a week. It will take weeks or even months. We will reach all places. End quote. On 12 October 2023, Mr. Isaac Herzog, President of Israel, stated, referring to Gaza, I quote, we are operating militarily according to rules of international law, unequivocally. It is an entire nation out there that is responsible. It is not true, this rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved. It is absolutely not true. They could have risen up. They could have fought against that evil regime which took over Gaza in a coup d'etat. But we are at war. We are at war. We are at war. We are defending our homes. We are protecting our homes. That's the truth. And when a nation protects its home, it fights. And we will fight until we break their backbone. End quote. On 13 October 2023, Mr. Israel Katz, then Minister of Energy and Infrastructure of Israel, stated on X, formerly Twitter, I quote, we will fight the terrorist organization Hamas and destroy it. All the civilian population in Gaza is ordered to leave immediately. We will win. They will not receive a drop of water or a single battery until they leave the world.
She's talking about all the Israeli commanders, politicians, army generals who are saying they were going to just wipe out everything in Gaza. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe South Africa might win this case. I don't know. I'm used to disappointment, though. I'm black. All we know is disappointment. I don't know, though. Let's see.
Was highly concerned about the sharp increase in racist hate speech and dehumanization directed at Palestinians since 7 October. In the court's view, the aforementioned facts and circumstances are sufficient to conclude that at least some of the rights claimed by South Africa and for which it is seeking protection are plausible. This is the case with respect to the right of Palestinians in Gaza to be protected from acts of genocide and related prohibited acts identified in Article 3, and the right of South Africa to seek Israel's compliance with the latter's obligations under the convention. The court then turns to the condition of the link between the plausible rights claimed by South Africa and the provisional measures requested. It considers that by their very nature, at least some of the provisional measures sought by South Africa are aimed at preserving the plausible rights it asserts on the basis of the Genocide Convention in the present case, namely, the right of the Palestinians in Gaza to be protected from acts of genocide and related prohibited acts mentioned in Article 3.
I still don't know the ruling. If you guys are typing in the chat, I cannot see it.
The link exists between the rights claimed by South Africa that the court has found to be plausible and at least some of the provisional measures requested. The court turns next to the question of risk of irreparable prejudice and urgency. It notes that, pursuant to Article 41 of its statute, it has the power to indicate provisional measures when irreparable prejudice could be caused to rights which are the subject of judicial proceedings, or when the alleged disregard of such rights might entail irreparable consequences. However, the power of the court to indicate provisional measures will only be exercised if there is urgency in the sense that there is a real and imminent risk that irreparable prejudice will be caused to the rights claimed before the court gives its final decision. The condition of urgency is met when the acts susceptible of causing irreparable prejudice can occur at any moment before the court makes the final decision in the case. The court must therefore consider whether such a risk exists at this stage of the proceedings. The court is not called upon for purposes of its decision on the request for the indication of provisional measures to establish the existence of breaches of obligations under the Genocide Convention, but to determine whether the circumstances require the indication of provisional measures for the protection of rights under that instrument. As already noted, the court cannot at this stage make definitive findings of fact, and the right of each party to submit arguments with respect to the merits remains unaffected by the court's decision on the request for the indication of provisional measures. The court recalls that, as underlined in General Assembly Resolution 96-1 of 11 December 1946, I quote, genocide is a denial of the right of existence of entire human groups, as homicide is the denial of the right to live of individual human beings. Such denial of the right of existence shocks the conscience of mankind, results in great losses to humanity in the form of cultural and other contributions represented by these human groups, and is contrary to moral law and to the spirit and aims of the United Nations. End of quote. In view of the fundamental values sought to be protected by the Genocide Convention, the court considers that the plausible rights in question in this proceeding, namely the right of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip to be protected from acts of genocide and related prohibited acts identified in Article 3 of the Genocide Convention, and the right of South Africa to seek Israel's compliance with the latter's obligation under the convention, are of such a nature that prejudice to them is capable of causing irreparable harm. During the ongoing conflict, senior United Nations officials have repeatedly called attention to the risk of further deterioration of conditions in the Gaza Strip. The court takes note, for instance, of the letter dated 6 December 2023, whereby the Secretary General of the United Nations brought the following information to the attention of the Security Council. I quote, "The healthcare system in Gaza is collapsing. Nowhere is safe in Gaza. Amid constant bombarding by the Israel Defense Forces and without shelter or the essentials to survive, I expect public order to completely break down soon due to the desperate conditions rendering even limited humanitarian assistance impossible. An even worse situation could unfold, including epidemic diseases and increased pressure for mass displacement into neighboring countries. We are facing a severe risk of collapse of the humanitarian system. The situation is fast deteriorating into a catastrophe with potentially irreversible implications for Palestinians as a whole and for peace and security."
The way she's talking, I think they're going to rule in Palestine's favor. I changed my
On
prediction.
January 2024, the Secretary General wrote again to the Security Council, providing an update on the
She's
situation.
talking about all the tragedies that have befallen the Palestinians. I didn't hear one thing about what happened on October 7th, really.
Issued by the UNRWA Commissioner General upon return from his 4th visit to the Gaza Strip since the beginning of the current conflict in Gaza. I quote, "Every time I visit Gaza, I witness how people have sunk further into despair, with the struggle for survival consuming every hour." End of quote. The court considers that the civilian population in the Gaza Strip remains extremely vulnerable. It recalls that the military operation conducted by Israel after 7 October 2023 has resulted inter alia in tens of thousands of deaths and injuries and the destruction of homes, schools, medical facilities, and other vital infrastructure, as well as displacement on a massive scale. The court notes that the operation is ongoing and that the Prime Minister of Israel announced on 18 January 2024 that the war, I quote, "will take many more long months," end of quote. At present, many Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have no access to the most basic foodstuffs, potable water, electricity, essential medicines, or heating. The World Health Organization has estimated that 15% of the women giving birth in Gaza Strip are likely to experience complications and indicates that maternal and newborn death rates are expected
I
to
still
increase.
don't know the ruling. We're 16 minutes in. I don't know it. If you know it, I don't know it. This is my live reaction.
Before the court renders its final judgment. The court recalls Israel's statement that it has taken certain steps to address and alleviate the conditions faced by the population in the Gaza Strip. The court further notes that the Attorney General of Israel recently stated that a call for intentional harm to civilians may amount to a criminal offense, including that of incitement, and that several such cases are being examined by Israeli law enforcement authorities. While such steps are to be encouraged, they are insufficient to remove the risk that irreparable prejudice will be caused before the court issues its final decision in the case. In light of the foregoing, the court considers that there is urgency in the sense that there is a real and imminent risk that irreparable prejudice will be caused to the rights found by the court to be plausible before it gives its final decision. The court concludes on the basis of the aforementioned considerations that the conditions required by the statute for it to indicate provisional measures are met. It is therefore necessary, pending its final decision, for the court to indicate certain measures in order to protect the rights claimed by South Africa that the court has found to be plausible. The court recalls that it has the power under its statute when a request for provisional measures has been made.
I think they ruled in favor of South Africa.
In the present case, having considered the terms of the provisional measures requested by South Africa and the circumstances of the case, the court finds that the measures indicated need not be identical to those requested.
Okay. Okay.
With regard to the present situation, Israel must, in accordance with its
Okay. All right. Hey.
Commission of all acts within the scope of the convention.
That's crazy.
Killing groups, members of the group. B.
That's crazy. The ICJ ruled in South Africa's favor. I think I got it right.
And D. Imposing measures intended to
That's crazy.
The court recalls that these acts fall within the
I did not expect that. I did not expect that at all.
destroy in whole or in part the group as such. The court further considers that Israel must ensure with immediate effect that its military forces.
Wow.
The court is also of the view that Israel must.
Did I get that right? Somebody let me know if I got that right. I think Israel just got smacked down at the ICJ.
That Israel must take immediate and effective measures.
Israel got smacked down at the ICJ. That's crazy. South Africa won the case.
Israel must also take effective
Israel's committing genocide. It's been confirmed.
Allegations of acts within the scope.
The ICJ said it. They said they got to stop.
Regarding the provisional measure requested by South Africa that Israel must submit a report to the court on all measures taken to give effect to the order, the court recalls that it has the power.
Did I get that right, chat? Y'all let me know.
Request the parties to provide information on any matter connected with the implementation of any provisional measures it has indicated. In view of the specific provisional measures it has cited to indicate
Wow.
that Israel must submit a report to the court.
Wow. Nelson Moreno jumped into the chat. He said, did you speed it up? Yeah, I watch everything on 2X. Greg Mack says, checking in. Nelson Moreno said, isn't today Holocaust Day? Today is International Genocide Awareness Day. Israel just got smacked down at the court.
Decision given in the present proceedings in no way prejudges the question of the jurisdiction of the court to deal with the merits of the case or any questions related to the admissibility of the application or to the merits themselves. It leaves unaffected the right of the governments of the Republic of South Africa and the State of Israel to submit arguments in respect of these questions. The order then states that the court deems it necessary to emphasize that all parties to the conflict in the Gaza Strip are bound by international humanitarian law. It is gravely concerned about the fate of the hostages abducted during the attack in Israel on 7 October 2023 and held since then by Hamas and other armed groups, and calls for their immediate and unconditional release. I shall now read out the operative part of the order. For these reasons, the court indicates the following provisional measures. 1. By 15 votes to 2, the State of Israel shall, in accordance with its obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, in relation to the Palestinians in Gaza, take all measures within its power to prevent the commission of all acts within the scope of Article 2 of the Convention. In particular, A. Killing members of the group. B. Causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. C. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. And D. Imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Kevorkian, Judges Tonka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judge Ad hoc Moseneke. Against, Judge Sabatinde, Judge Ad hoc Barak. By 15 votes to 2, the state of Israel shall ensure, with immediate effect, that its military does not commit any acts described in point 1 above. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Kevorkian, Judges Tonka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judge Ad hoc Moseneke. Against, Judge Sabatinde, Judge Ad hoc Barak. By 16 votes to 1, the state of Israel shall take all measures within its power to prevent and punish the direct and
They voting against Israel. The ICJ is piling on Israel. Oh my God. Who knew the Zionists could get up like this? My God. I did not see it. This is white supremacy getting smacked in the face right now. God loves black people. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Everybody knows it's a mass extinction event in Gaza. I am surprised. I am literally surprised. I am shocked. I am shocked.
Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judges Ad hoc Barak, Moseneke. Against, Judge Sabatinde. By 15 votes to 2, the state of Israel shall take effective measures to prevent the destruction and ensure the preservation of evidence related to allegations of acts within the scope of Article 2 and Article 3 of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide against members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Kevorkian, Judges Tonka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judge Ad hoc Moseneke. Against, Judge Sabatinde, Judge Ad hoc Barak. By 15 votes to 2, the state of Israel shall submit a report to the court on all measures taken to give effect to this order within 1 month as from the date of the order. In favor, President Donahue, Vice President Kevorkian, Judges Tonka, Abraham, Benuna, Yusuf, Shway, Bandari, Robinson, Salam, Iwasawa, Nolte, Charlesworth, Brandt, Judge Ad hoc Moseneke. Against, Judge Sabatinde, Judge Ad hoc Barak. I shall now call upon the registrar to read the operative part of the order in French.
Par ces motifs, la Cour indique les mesures conservatoires suivantes. 1. Par 15 voix contre 2.
All right, he's speaking in French. He's speaking in French now, so I don't know if they're going to translate that, but that's crazy. That's crazy. If I got that right, I hope I got that right. What I'm hearing here is that basically the court is ruling against Israel. Israel has been found guilty of committing genocide in the ICJ. I don't know if the chat went down to 0 because y'all know the answer or y'all just tired. But it looks like, you know, there's a victory. There's a victory. That's a victory for black people because black people consistently, you know, have been underrepresented in the ICJ. Many black people have been sentenced under the ICJ. This is insane. And it's actually good to see South Africa exhibit power on the world stage like this. And Israel to be held accountable for committing a mass extinction event in Palestine. I love to see it. I did not expect this to happen. I thought the ICJ would rule in favor of the Zionists. I think I got it right. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but I think they found the Zionists guilty of committing mass extinctions. See, I'm watching the BBC, so of course they're not going to be like reporting it like the way it should be. Like this is a momentous event in history. This is a tremendously momentous event in history because now every media, every news source outside will have to report, hey, Israel was found guilty of committing genocide in the ICJ. This will have to be reported with whatever spin they put on it. They have to tell this part of the story too, which is really, really amazing, really dope. Good to see people celebrating. Shout out to all the third worlders. Shout out to the global South. Shout out to South Africa. Y'all did it. Y'all did it. Shout out to the young black man that was representing South Africa. This is absolutely crazy. I did not expect this. I did not expect this to be what Friday would be like. Once again, this is a victory. This is a victory for all the people who are dispossessed, the people who are oppressed around the world. The Palestinian people are absolutely oppressed. I kept this absolutely clear on my channel. I just got to speak up for the black Arabs, and the black Arabs get treated like dog shit in the Arab nations, especially in the West Bank and in Gaza. But it's good to see a victory. It's good to see that the ICJ ruling 15-2. 15-2, yeah, they're doing it. They're doing a mass extinction event. This is absolutely bonkers. Wow. They just wrapped it up. They said it's done. They dropped the mic. They dropped the mic on that ass. That's crazy. The Zionists are crying tears all over the world now. Hey, white supremacy gets slapped down. White supremacy getting slapped down. This is absolutely dope. Absolutely dope. Did not expect this. I'm gonna pull out the kafiyas. I'm pulling out the kafiyas today, baby. We rapping kafiyas around, baby. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. We going in. This is crazy. We pulling out kafiyas. We gotta go to the masjid, man. We gotta go to the masjid. Allahu Akbar. This is dope. This is dope. This is good to see the oppressors have their day. It's good to see the oppressors have their motherfucking day. We gonna cuss because you know Israel, the Zionists are gonna shut down my YouTube channel anyway, so I don't care. Hey, very good to see that. Shout out to all the South Africans. Shout out to the young South African lawyers. Shout out to everybody in the underworld, not the underworld, the third world, the global South. Shout out to the Palestinians. Y'all will get justice, but y'all got to fight your own battles. See, this is why y'all got to love black people, because whenever we advocate for y'all, whenever we are on your side, there will be victory. But yet and still, there is still so much anti-black racism within the Arab world. Now, the thing is, from now on, black people did a very good deal. Black people just made a very good deal with the Arabs right now. We just got y'all recognition on the ICJ. We just got the whole world to recognize that Israel is committing genocide against the Arab Palestinians. So from now on, I don't want to hear no more Zanj. I don't want to hear no more Abd. I don't want to hear no more Nuba. I don't want to hear any more derogatory terms for black people, period. Because black people just helped the Palestinians in a major way. In a major way. Y'all ain't seen no other white country stand up for the Gazans and the Palestinians like South Africa just did. Y'all ain't had no other nation out there. New Zealand, Uruguay, France, Italy, nobody was standing up for the Palestinians, but broke-ass South Africa did. Broke-ass South Africa did. They just got y'all justice on the world stage. Okay? Okay? Nelson Moreno just said, now we need some consequences for the Arabs in Sudan. Facts, big facts, big facts. We need to bring all those Arabs who are persecuting the Masalite people to the ICJ and the ICC. Big facts. We need to do that. But first and foremost, the Arabs got to put some respect on black people, because black people just did y'all a big favor. Big favor. And if I ever hear an Arab talking spicy to a black, I'm going to smack the shit out of him. I'm going to smack the shit out of the next Arab who talks spicy about black people, because the South Africans just did y'all a major favor. So I need some permanent respect on us, Shout out to the black South Africans for doing it big at the ICJ. We ain't going to see this in our lifetime again. The fight against Zionism is, of course, the fight against white supremacy, of course. And for black people to make this major win against white supremacy on the world stage is a very big deal. Let's not discount this. I thought today we were going to have our heart broken. We were going to see the Zionists pull strings behind closed doors and make the ICJ do their bidding and say they're not committing a mass extinction event where they're slaughtering children, slaughtering women, and putting them in refugee camps. I thought that's what we were going to see, but we didn't see that. The arc of the universe bends towards justice, and black don't crack, and black don't fold. Bet on black every single time. Let's go, South Africa. Hey, Nelson Mandela up in heaven doing his little jig right now. We pulling out kafiyas. We doing all African dances today. We turning up against the Zionists. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. I got to get to class. I got to get to work. Shout out to everybody who jumped into the chat. Shout out to everybody who's going to watch this on the playback. This is a great day. It's a great day to be black. It's a great day to be Muslim. It's a great day to be of African descent. It's a great day to be the poor of the earth. It's a great day to be a part of the dispossessed of the earth, because we can whoop Zionist ass. We can whoop white supremacist ass. When we come together, we can defeat the impossible. We can overcome the conquerors. We can knock out Goliath if we come together as David to throw stones together. But all the Arabs out there, one more time, if any of y'all talk spicy about black people, if we hear about more racism in the Arab world after what South Africa just did for y'all, we gonna smack the shit out of y'all. We smacking the shit out of every single Arab being racist against black people after what South Africa did today. My wife is right here. She's Turkish. A lot of racism in Turkey against black people. So I'm going to smack a booty. What? I'm going to smack my wife's booty for every single time these Arabs want to be racist against black people. Every time a Turkish person want to speak about Palestine but want to get mad at black people, I'm going to smack my wife's booty. Ow. You feel me? We turning up this year, 2024. All the dispossessed, all the poor people of the earth, we turning up for real. All right? So Shout out to y'all. I really got to get to class. I don't want to go to class, but Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Peace.